Hey, I'm going to do a little quarantine update, a few little anecdotes, if you will, um, stories. The one thing I love about the quarantine, like this is an underreported aspect of the quarantine. I usually don't look very good anyway, but now I have a really good excuse because we can't really get our hair cut because you can't go next to other people. But I'm kind of scruffy anyway, so I probably wouldn't look much better. But at least the quarantine gives you a good excuse to look like this. Anyway, I'm in my basement. It's day 30 something of the quarantine. 35, I don't know, somewhere in the 30s. It's like time has sort of just all become very like squishy. It's like a I don't know, like a pasta type of taste to time. It's like this like overcooked pasta. It's like it's just like the same day, the same thing. And you can't tell which day, one day from the other. I can't tell Monday from Tuesday from Wednesday. It's all kind of just the same thing. I've been mediocre in my discipline. I've been still working out every day. Sometimes, some days I go harder, some days I go lighter. Usually, maybe doing two a day, but not super hard. I mean, I could push myself a lot harder, um, which is okay. I mean, my work, I'm like kind of concentrating, kind of not. I'm really enjoying a lot of videos on the internet. I'll admit, I've watched many. Um, Wildlife, nature. I love those ones where the the primitive technologies where they build all these like wild things. I just love that. Oh my god, it's wonderful. Um, yeah, it's great. So, what I want to talk about today was my daughter is horrified, of course. What girl wouldn't be if their father starts making videos on YouTube? Because really, honestly, the if you're an eighth grade girl, about your worst nightmare um, would be that your father is making YouTube videos that your friends might accidentally see. And so my daughter's been making a lot of fun of me on a pretty regular basis because I'm making these videos. And I don't know, maybe she's right. I mean, she likes, of course, all the YouTube. I think she watches cooking tutorials, maybe makeup tutorials. There's a certain few shows that she likes. I don't really know because I don't think that eighth grade girls are probably telling their parents everything they're watching on YouTube. Anyway, she's horrified, but she doesn't have an option. I'm going to make this stuff. I don't think her friends are ever going to find out about it. I think my daughter might watch some of the videos, but she doesn't really know where to find them, so whatever. My daughter's really, really funny. By the way, I love my daughter. She's an amazing person, and I got to tell you a story about uh, my daughter's sense of humor. One day when she was probably a little younger, and she was riding in the car with a couple of her friends in the back seat. And I live in Seattle, which is it's like most people here are wealthy or it's probably the wealthiest part of the United States, I would say. I mean, it's or close. A lot of people don't look it because it's got that West Coast culture of there's a lot of engineers, so they're not really ostentatious type people. Anyway, my daughter was riding the. I was. My daughter was in the back seat of the car with a couple of her friends, and I'm overhear their conversation. So the first girl says, "Well, my dad, when he was young, he went to Princeton and he studied architecture, and then he went to grad school at University of Washington." The other girl says, "Well, my dad, when he was young, he got into Stanford and he went to Stanford for his undergrad, and then he went to Harvard for his master's degree." My daughter, and then it's like my daughter, and she says, "Well, my dad, when he was young, he was going to these clubs and he had a pager and he was talking to the honeys." And I turned around to the back seat and she was laughing. She, of course, knew I was listening. So, and that's my daughter's sense of humor. She thought and it was all true. She'd listened to stories that I told her. And yeah, I was running early 90s. I'm running around the clubs. I got my pager. You had to have a pager in those days. It was like a status symbol that you could get for like $15 a month. Um, anyway, if you were cool, you gotta get a pager. There's just no other option if you want to talk to some honeys. Um, So you go out there, you got your pager, you're trying to get the digits, um, and I don't know if the pager helped me or hurt me or people laughed at me, but it was worth it for a while. Um, anyway, I wish pagers would make a comeback. I bet they will, because it seems like one of those retro things that they'll make like steampunk pagers or goth pagers or emo pagers or God knows what. I don't even know what all those things are. Anyway, I looked around the internet at the competition, who's on YouTube, and all I really wanted to do was come on here and just kill some time. I like listening to myself talk, so maybe there'll be one other person in the world that likes listening to me talk. Anyway, so as I look around YouTube, it's like all these people are. I hadn't really looked at a lot of blogs, and there's a lot of these like teens or kids in their early 20s. It seems like one of the things that helps you get traffic on YouTube is being exceptionally attractive. So there's a lot of people that are doing like sort of experiments with Mentos and really overly edited video with lots of like jump cuts and words flying out from here and there. So I guess that's sort of the competition. Oh, and it seems like there's a lot of women that, which is of no surprise, doing the, let's just say, being provocative would be the word that I would describe for it. And then because there's a lot of women being provocative, there's this whole other set of sort of guys complaining about women being provocative. I don't understand what you're complaining really about. I mean, about, I guess it's manipulative. I don't understand why you even care. Honestly, because I've always been the person that's of the opinion of if you can change the channel on the TV, you don't really have anything to complain about. I kind of feel the same way about this. I mean, I get it because there's probably some kind of biological imperative where men are competing for the attention of these women, and these guys probably aren't, doing great, but nobody's taking their money, right? Or taking their attention. It's like you can do it or you can't. It's your call. And it turns out that almost everyone that I've noticed that's around my age, and especially my gender, men in their 40s, it's like there's a lot of these channels that are like history channels or what else? People with a lot of political rants from one side or the other. Conspiracy theories. Conspiracy theories are big around middle-aged men in the United States. It seems like everyone has got a new conspiracy theory. One guy sent me a thing about I think it was like phases of the moon. And that seems like even by conspiracy theory standards, I'm like, that seems kind of lame. I mean, I hate to criticize your conspiracy theory, but I want phases of the moon. Why do you care about phases of the moon? Anyway, I feel like people just have too much time on their hands, so they've got to take whatever they're, as I do, whatever they regularly talk about and put it on the internet. There's a lot of these articles coming out about food supply problems. I'm pretty good on food supply. Like I think I'm doing pretty well in that category. I would encourage people that to get some kind of backup. As I said before, I'm in the range. I'm kind of like a half-ass prepper. I'm kind of like a underachieving prepper. I've got some of the stuff, but I'm not totally wacko. It's amazing if you've ever been one of those people that prepares for disaster, as I do. How much your family mocks you until an actual disaster hits, and then they're like, "Whoa, you saw that in advance." So I've gotten to tell, or not really, but I've kind of gotten to tell a lot of people, told you so. And I hope that works out for everyone. Anyway. It was very sad. There's a lot of people that have I'm starting to know people that have the virus, or know of people that have the virus, friends of friends, family members of friends, and that's really sad. I mean, it kind of brings it closer to home. It feels like the virus is getting closer. We're up to almost 600,000 infections in the United States. That's out of our population of 320 million, and globally we've got 2 million infections, and 130,000 people sadly have been passed away from the virus. In the United States, we've got 30,000 infections, or sorry, 600,000 again, 630,000 infections, and then we have a little over 30,000 people that have sadly passed away from the virus. Where I am located in Seattle, Washington, King County, Washington, we have actually, we were number one in the country for a while, and the number of deaths we have has significantly decreased. So at least that's a little ray of hope. And I mean, people are doing a great job social distancing in Seattle. So I really think that's the key when you look at our growth versus the number of deaths that we've had versus a place like Detroit. I'm going to do some more videos on my other channel about Roosevelt, the New Deal. It's one of those things that I like. It's my hobby. I want to talk about New Deal and the Depression, and how Roosevelt's policies could get us out of the current financial quagmire that we're in. Anyway, that is my update. I have really, really solid hair on this one. I feel like this is maybe the best hair I've ever had on a blog. And I've had some really good hair. So, but this may be the best.